In 2022, I was a full-time Doordash driver. While also doing other jobs, I was able to manage squeezing in about 35 hours of DoorDashing per week. In this video, I will be taking you through what you can expect from a full year of DoorDash, how much money you'll make, how the different times of day, month, and season affect pay, and what you're left with after the year is all said and done. I started my year off wanting to grow my DoorDash income, and with that meant testing different strategies to see what ways I could make more money. I started off with some good old-fashioned cherry picking. Wow guys, finally, after 15 minutes of waiting, I get this order. Finally, sheesh. That took so long. After making only $97.50 in 5 hours, I came to discover that maybe being that selective with orders wasn't the best for my area. I then decided to go back to Top Dasher and accepted over 50 orders in a row. I just had a DoorDash pickup. Oh, thank goodness, that does it. These are my stats over here for how many orders I did and how much money I made, all that stuff. I'm so over this whole challenge. Then came the really slow times of the year. I've been staring at this screen right here for about 10 minutes. Making only $9 an hour after expenses is terrible and pretty hard to push through. But if you stay persistent and keep grinding, things get a lot better in February. Now, even though DoorDash is going well at this point, I started getting greedy. And so what I did was I got on Grubhub as well, making it easy for me to hit my daily goals. And that's actually something that I highly recommend you do. Don't just be a DoorDash driver if you can. Try and get on Grubhub and Uber Eats because it makes making a lot more money way easier. This is when I discovered how much more money I'd need to make per hour to make up for the crazy gas prices, leading me to work 100 hours in a single week. It's about April at this point, and as you go about being a full-time dasher, you'll notice that DoorDash will change and add new things and features every so often. So it was at this time they introduced the pizza delivery program, which I came to find out is really great and actually super profitable, especially on the weekends. After over 3 months of pushing myself really hard, I had some things come up with my dog and had to take some time off, which will probably happen to a lot of you as a full-time dasher. Things come up in your life where you get burned out, and working for yourself means when these things happen, you can actually take a step back and take some much needed time off, like I did. Then after a few days of that, you'll start to crave the dopamine rush, getting instant money just for delivering food, and you'll be back at it like you never left. Or at least that's what I did. Trying out new features again, testing out more driving strategies, torturing myself by accepting every order, and so on and so forth. It's now about mid-year. You've realized you can fairly easily make $1,000 a week and you're cruising along. But with the inconsistency of DoorDash, you have some really good days and some really bad days. And somewhere after about 6 months of volatility and back soreness, you'll decide you've had enough. Then you'll go on and try something else, realize DoorDash is the easiest job in the world, and you'll probably miss it pretty badly. So you go back. You start making money again, and right as you're back into your flow, there's more changing features. This time it has to do with your pay. Intrigued, you'll go out and test this over and over and over, all because you want to make the most money possible again. You'll realize that increasing your acceptance rate by a little bit actually does improve your pay slightly, and through finding that out, you go crazy and see if you can make a whopping $3,000 in a week. Obviously, you'll fail, because I really don't think it's possible to make $3,000 in a week. But hey, at least I gave it my best shot. Summer is now winding down and you're getting pretty bored of your area. So maybe you go and drive to some other areas just to shake things up. What you'll find is that you miss the familiarity of your old area and all the little nuances that helped you max out your income over there. So you'll go back, decide you want to grind away and try and make $5,000 in a month, and right as you're hitting your stride, bam, back-to-back car accidents. Yeah. That really happened to me. But you won't let that stop you. Well, there it is, guys. The new DoorDash mobile. You get a new car and decide, man, I should probably cut back on the time I spend driving for DoorDash. So as the year commences, you switch to part-time and realize that this is better for your health because you don't have as much back pain. It's better for your wallet because you can pursue other things that have way higher earning potential and not as many expenses tied to them. And it's better on your mind because you get to work less. So that was the story of my year as a full-time DoorDash driver. And as far as right now goes, I really am not full-time anymore. I would say I work about 10 to 20 hours a week with DoorDash. It's really truly a side hustle for me at this point. And I think that's what everyone should get to. If you're dashing full-time, that's totally fine, totally perfect, but I would be striving to come up with something else on the side of DoorDash so that you can slowly cut back the hours you're having to work, because that's going to lead to more money overall in the long run. And throughout this year, I'm going to be showing you guys what my new streams of income are, how I'm making my money, and why not all of it is tied to DoorDash and YouTube anymore. But as far as DoorDash goes, I'm going to give you guys some advice, and then we'll break down my entire year's worth of pay and expenses. So a couple things that you should probably know if you're looking into becoming a DoorDash driver, or maybe you just barely started, you haven't completed a full year yet, and you're interested in some advice from a 4-year veteran DoorDash driver. Well, I would say that in January, it's going to be the slowest time of the entire year. Now, things definitely pick back up, and I would like to say that I could predict what pay you're going to be expecting as the seasons go on, but sometimes summer is the busiest months, sometimes winter is because of the weather, and other times spring and fall are good. It's so volatile, and DoorDash is changing and their customers are changing constantly. It's really hard to predict any type of pay, but I would say that just as a good rule of thumb, you're going to be making less in January, and as the year goes on, you'll start making a lot more money, and then sometime in the summer, you'll hit like a really dead month, and then as the year finishes out, you should see your pay increase as you go into October, November, December. Now, as far as things that can help you make more money as you go about your yearly dash, I would highly suggest getting the app Solo. It tracks your mileage, and it also helps you plan out your schedule so you know exactly how much money you're going to be making in your area. You can watch as many YouTube videos as you want, but unless that specific DoorDasher is in your area, it's going to be hard for anything of what they say to apply directly to you. Yeah, there might be a couple nuggets here and there that you can take, but as far as your specific area goes, Solo is going to be a great partner app that you can use to track your mileage, track your expenses. They'll guarantee your pay if you schedule out your shift, and they also have some great help with your tax information. So if you're interested in downloading that, make sure you click the link down below in the description. When you use that link to download the app, you're going to get $10 when you sign up and link one of your accounts. So as far as what time of day is the best, this also varies depending on what area you're in. So on the Solo app, you can see that as well. But for me, it really depends on the season. Everything I'm saying right now it just depends. DoorDash is so unpredictable and so volatile that you really can't give a definite answer, but I would say weekends for sure, especially if you sign up for that pizza delivery program, which I would highly suggest as well, because you're gonna get the best orders possible on the weekends. Now, other than that, you can go check out my DoorDash tips playlist if you need a full deep dive on every single possible thing when it comes to DoorDash. I've covered it in one of my 400 plus videos. So I'll link that up at the top for you. But anyways, let's get into the pay now. This I was actually super interested in when I was going through and calculating all this, because I hadn't done this until I was making this video. But another thing I wanted to mention is that not all the numbers are going to be 100% accurate, because I don't know the exact amount I made from DoorDash. I don't have my 1099 form from them or anything yet. And so this is just going off of numbers I've kept track of throughout the entire year with my spreadsheet. And then the mileage I split between 2 apps because I used to use the Gridwise app, but now I'm using the Solo app. So that was split between 2 apps, but I do have a pretty definite number for the amount of miles I drove. In total, I made $38,231 for the entire year, and I worked 1,863 and a half hours. The miles I drove was 36,697 and a half miles, which is actually pretty crazy. And you might think that's a super high number, which it is, but it's actually kind of beneficial because then you get a way bigger tax deduction. So I'll explain that in a sec as well. But based off of those numbers right there, my hourly pay for the entire year was on average $20.52. And my average dollar per mile ratio was for every 1 mile I drove, I made $1.04. Now, as far as my gas expense goes, I spent around $6,238 in gas, which looking back on that, I was like, man, that is a lot of money going to gas. but it is what it is. It comes with the territory. Now, I always put away money for car savings and car repairs, and especially because I had to get a new car this year, this comes in really handy. And so I save about 5% of my total income. And so for the entire year, I saved $1,911.55, which means my total expenses for the year were $8,150.13. Quite a bit of expenses. My total after expenses was $30,080.88, which if you want to compare this job to a normal W-2 job, I like to do that because then you can kind of see how your pay stacks up. But if we're going off that, which means your hourly pay before taxes but after expenses, I was only averaging $16.14 in real job pay, which kind of sucks, to be honest with you. But I got to work when I wanted. I was my own boss for the year, so I'd say it's worth it. Now for my tax deduction, because I drove those 36,600 miles, I get a $22,935 tax deduction, which means my taxable income is only about $15,000, which comes in super handy because that means I only owe $4,588 in taxes. So my total after taxes was $33,642, but then we have to subtract those $8,000 in expenses. So my total profit for the entire year was only $25,492, and my hourly profit was $13.68 per hour. So that's the truth about DoorDashing full-time for a year. Yeah, I made $38,000, but in profit, I only come out with $25,000. So that's the reality of being a DoorDash driver. Yeah, you get to work when you want, you get to be your own boss, and you can make more than what I made throughout the year, but this was working about 35 hours a week, averaging like $20+ an hour, and taking a couple weeks off for like vacation and stuff. But that's about how much you'll make, around $40,000, but then you'll have a bunch of expenses and some tax to pay as well. So you come out making not as much as you seem, and that's why I think it's so important to not have this as your main job, but have it as a side hustle. Even if you're working full-time hours, make sure you're putting in time towards something else that's also giving you income, because this is not going to cut it for my goals and probably a lot of your goals as well. And that actually leads into my new motto of this channel for 2023, and that motto is to become more. Now my last name is More, and so that's why my channel is More Finance, and I really like my last name because it can go with so many things, and so the motto is become more. And I think that we should all strive this year to become more than what we are. Work smarter, work longer hours, work harder, and also just improve in all areas of your life. Just become more, become a better person, become more financially, and I think this can be the best year of our lives. That's at least my goal. And so if you want to come along this journey with me of me trying to become more this entire year, make more money, then make sure you subscribe, because I'm going to be documenting the whole thing. And also I'm doing a huge giveaway for when we hit 50,000 subscribers, so that's also a little perk you'll get if you subscribe as well. But anyways, there you guys have it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a comment. Let me know any video ideas you'd like me to do for the year 2023, and I'll most likely do them, because sometimes you guys come up with some great videos. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.